Sometimes what sounds right isn't always right. Other times it is. Let's discuss. I know I'm a couple months late on this video. Sorry about that. I've had a lot going on. Every time I started on this video, kind of got sidetracked and yada yada. But here we are. Apple wants to fight child abuse. That's great, right? Any company that wants to protect our children is doing a good thing, right? Well, where do we draw the line between helpful privacy invasion versus what's right and what's wrong? So, there's a lot of things to consider when doing something that is perceived as correct. Before I get started, I have included some important links from Apple's website in the description down below. If you have any concerns about what we go over, or if you want to learn more, they're all full of great information, such as, basically everything we're going to talk about and some frequently asked questions. So let's go ahead and go over some basics here. First, Apple wants to implement message safety features within the messaging app that gives parents more information and control over what their kids are seeing. If you check out this image here, you'll see a little bit of information about what I'm talking about. In those links that I gave you, I'm going to also pull a couple of quotes, one of which is directly from Apple. The Messages app will use on-device machine learning to warn about sensitive content while keeping private communications unreadable by Apple. The on-device machine learning will identify and blur out any sexual material that is viewed on a device used by someone underage. For those under 12, parents will be notified if they view such imagery as well if they send it. For those that are 13 to 17, they will be notified that the material that they are about to see could be harmful and give them the option to ignore it or go ahead and view it. Parents will not be notified though. For this to take effect, parents do actually have to opt in. None of this goes to Apple. Next, iOS and iPad OS will both use cryptography to help prevent the spread of CSAM and give law enforcement some valuable information without compromising user privacy. What happens when a device uploads photos to iCloud? A search scans for CSAM hashes for all images to see if they match the database of images. If a match occurs, or enough matches occur, Apple is notified and then it gets sent to authorities. I will go over that in more detail in just a moment here. Lastly, Apple has updated Siri and Search to, and I quote, provide parents and children expanded information and help if they encounter unsafe situations. So they will also intervene when someone tries to search for any CSAM related topics. This also provides information to help anyone with an addiction to any type of material such as CSAM, and it provides ways to help them or ways for them to find help. Something that should be known is that CSAM, or child sexual abuse material, CSAM scanning is not a new idea. In fact, several companies use it, and it has been around for several years. Facebook and Twitter, among other companies, also use Microsoft's photo DNA to scan for materials that can be found in the CSAM hashes. If anything that is found matches CSAM, companies are actually required by law to report it. This process is typically done server-side, but Apple is wanting to do it on the device side of things, which is where a lot of the controversy actually comes from. Something else worth noting is that Apple has been using CSAM or CSAM scanning on emails for years now, as well as Gmail and other email providers. For those of you who are curious about how Apple's child sexual abuse material system essentially works, here's a little bit more of a deep dive into it. So hashes are basically just a string of numbers within an image that identifies an image, but it does not allow for that, it doesn't necessarily allow for that picture to be recreated based off this hash. All that hash is numbers. If a device has iCloud Photos turned on, the neural hash system applies the hash to the image, or to an image. It then takes the hash on the image that is getting uploaded and compares it to the CSAM databases of hashes to see if that hash or if this hash matches any other hashes that are out there. If they do, Apple's system actually creates what's called a safety voucher. That is then uploaded to iCloud Photos. Safety vouchers, they show signs that a match exists, okay? And then it encrypts that data. So nobody can see that data. Not Apple, not the feds, not you. Nobody could see this encrypted data. At this point, no moderators are notified, okay? So, like I said, no one, not even an Apple employee, can see these images. If your account generates enough vouchers, as of right now, it's 30 of them, but could be changed according to Apple, each voucher will then become decrypted and flagged. At this point, one of Apple's human moderators can physically view these photos. If these photos are not false positives and they are deemed that these photos are part of the CSAM material or hashes or matches in the database, however you want to word it, if it contains child sexual abuse material, authorities will be notified. Apple states that this is only for photos that sync to iCloud. Now, these could be existing photos or new photos that you continue to take. From Apple's website, they say, this program is ambitious and protecting children is an important responsibility. These efforts will revolve and expand over time. So if you want more information, more detailed information directly from Apple, check out the links provided in the description. I will continue to go over more details and ideas and show some screenshots in this video, but Apple's website will give you pretty much all the information and details that you need. Apple's goal was to roll this out in late 2021, late this year, but they have received a ton of pushback. Why though? Shouldn't we all want to protect our children? Well, let me explain the pushback here. While Siri and search updates haven't received hardly any pushback, the other two proposals have. The pushback against the on-device machine learning for the Messages app is that if Apple can do this on devices for users 12 and under, and change it up for even users 12 to 17, they can do it to anybody's phones. Some others believe that this could be a way to out kids who are gay but haven't opened up to their families about it yet, or even limit the rights of protected speech. This has also been claimed to be a way to create a device surveillance system, just like the CSAM scanning, which could essentially create a break-in into the end-to-end encryption that Apple has had created for all of their devices: iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, Macs, all their devices. However, the biggest pushback is against the iCloud scanning, and here's why. Apple revealed that the images are scanned on device prior to going to the cloud. If there is a CSAM match, it will then go to Apple and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC. Now again, that's only if it hits a certain number of vouchers that Apple creates. Privacy groups have made claims that this on-device scanning, as well as the potential iCloud scanning, introduces a backdoor for Apple to allow governments such as China and certain USA government agencies that they can request Apple to allow them to scan devices for any reason. Claims have also been made that anti-LGBT regimes and governments can use it as a way to find people and crack down on those people's liberties throughout the world. So basically, groups are afraid that this would allow for Apple, governments, and certain regimes to do whatever they want with your data and take away freedoms and liberties. Of course, Apple's response to all of this is for the iCloud and on-device scanning. It's purely for child sexual abuse material and absolutely nothing else. And they also put users' privacy first, which is something they've touted for years. They claim that it uses the hashes provided by NCMEC for all devices to prevent signaling out any specific user or device. Apple also has stated that they have refused government requests in the past, which they have, and will continue to do so for privacy purposes. They have actually made multiple comments about refusing to expand CSAM scanning to anything else per government request. And with that, they are wanting to actually take two different groups from different countries to scan imagery rather than just taking one based from one government, such as the NCMEC from the United States, to help prevent false positives and governmental issues. Apple also isn't a fan of the term backdoor because they have built this in on user devices rather than on the server side. So in Apple's view, it's not a backdoor, it's on the device and still perfectly safe. So with all of that being said, here's my opinion on this controversial topic. I like the idea of protecting our children. Totally support that 110%. In today's world where things are much more easily accessible and the world seems to move a little bit faster than what it used to, parents need more ways to help their kids, and kids need more protection from certain aspects of life that should only be left to adults. So I'm all for helping the children. I think that the messaging app telling kids that they shouldn't see something is a good idea. I think notifying the parents is a good idea, although I think the age should be raised from 12 to 14. So like if a 13 or 14-year-old still proceeds to view something that has been perceived as something they shouldn't be, I still think that parents should be notified up to the age of 14, maybe 15. And, even those under 12, I think before they should be able to see something, I think parents should be able to see it first. And then from there, once the parents see it, then if they approve it, then the kid should see it. But if the parents deny it, then the kid can't see it. I think that would be a safer route. But overall, however it's done, I feel like as they want to do it right now, I think the messaging updates is a really good thing. The Siri and search updates are a great thing. It helps kids and parents find support, and it also helps those who have I guess what you would call as a sick addiction. They need help. So this would give them access to, or easier access, I should say, to getting help and support that they need for, their situation. So I think that's good to update Siri and search. As far as the CSAM scanning, I support it. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a good thing that they've got the databases with the hashes and that photos and emails and text messages and, on the cloud, and all these companies that are doing their part to scan hashes against, the hashes in the databases. I think that's a great thing. But I'm not really concerned about the backdoor term, but I am more for the possibilities that it creates. For example, Communist China has told Apple that Apple can't allow certain apps to be in the China App Store. Apple obliged. There are multiple other areas where Apple has agreed with what governments have told them. While I trust that Apple wants to keep users' privacy a top priority, there's only so much that you can do when the government steps in, even in the United States where Apple is based. So I do support the CSAM, and I support helping kids, but I do want to proceed with caution, and I do hope that Apple stands firm as well as proceeds with caution with the scanning, and they stand firm against governments going, hey, we want to scan for X, Y, and Z. Apple needs to go, no, we're scanning only to help kids. If you're not, contributing to that, we don't want you in this. It's kind of my 2 cents, but it is a highly controversial topic. As of right now, they're still doing things in beta for iOS 15.2 and 3 and things like that. As they kind of roll out, they're still working with the beta operating systems. And I do hope they start to roll out a few things, but I know it's going to be an uphill battle for those groups that think that they're going to lose their liberties. The best way to go about that is that if you don't want to lose your liberties, don't do anything illegal, but also don't buy an Apple product, or just simply shut off iCloud scanning, and then also don't opt into the messaging stuff. That's just my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Honestly, I want to know what you think. Leave your comments down below. I'll reply to them when I can. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.